I'd love to just hear, if you had to break it down into like cliff notes of 2009, we were here, now we're here, and these were the big things that we did to get there. You know, what would you say some of those are?
Well, I think from, you know, outside of like day to day, like the 30,000 foot view of things would lay out, like, number one, you have to be clearly focused on the target and what the goal is. Okay. You know, like our message doesn't work for everybody. You know, like the go all in, be unreasonable, like that doesn't work for some people. Like, like I try to tell people on the podcast, you know, the information that we talk about is not to get you a 6-figure job. It's not for you to make 150 grand a year. Like, that's the information that we talk about will offend you if you are satisfied at 150 grand a year or 200 grand a year. Right. Because what we talk about is, how do we get to millions annually plus and get to, you know, 10 million in net worth by the time you're 40 or by the time you're 35, or like we want to take time out of the deal. And so that's tough to stomach for some people because of the sacrifices that you have to make. Like, you know, I definitely had to make some sacrifice. I've been with Grant for 8 years. The first 3 were brutal. Like, you know, you and I have talked about, like,
yeah, you know, tell the audience about that, because I think a lot of people, they're gonna see you and look you up from this book, and they're gonna see the private jet that you're on, and they're gonna see you on stage or on the show. But like, let's talk about some of the stuff that you had to go through the first 3 years.
Oh, dude, so much uncertainty. I mean, you know, like to make money, like, you got to get, you know, at the time, the way the comp plan was structured, like, I was building a residual. So like I didn't even feel any increase in income unless I was getting like 6 or 7 or 8 deals a month. And these are like $40,000 or $50,000 deals, you know? So like, I wasn't even feeling it until that started happening. And I'd go like one deal in a month, then I'd blank, and then I'd get like 2 deals, and then it'd be blank. It was a new product. We didn't have a sales process for it. We didn't really understand enough about how to, I mean, it was literally a new thing. We took, you know, training, which had been almost entirely done live, in on-site in a company or in a seminar, and we were bringing it to people online now. So it was like, how are they going to react to this? How do you need to present it to them? How do you create a process and a system around it so that when it gets implemented, it doesn't fall flat? So there's all these things about not just the pitch and the sale, but the business and the deployment of the product to consider. So,
and it sounds like you were doing sales and almost product development, product management.
100%. And then you know, using customer insights to try to reposition how we present the product. Like, a lot of times the sales pitch has a lot to do with something. Like, you know, I could take this iPhone charger that you have here on this table, and I could say, hey, this charges a phone. But, you know, somebody else may come along and say, you know, I have the ability to tie this up in this weird, crazy thing, and now it can become an unbreakable whatever. Yep. And it's the same exact object, but it was used in a different way. And this charger may be worth $26 as a phone charger, but is a different package or a different way you present this, it could be worth $1 million. Right. Millions. And it's the same thing. So like, and that, you know, that's a good analogy for like sales. Like, you got to make sure you're selling people the right thing with your product. And even though your product's the same, that doesn't mean you present it the same, because every customer doesn't buy the same, and they don't have the same problems that they're trying to solve, and they don't have the same interests. And, you know, like, so you have to make sure that you're like present mind and you're tuned into people when you're communicating with them. It really is, sales is communication. It's not, you know, it's really not this big thing that people talk about as sales. It's communicating with people.
This triathlon, I just went and hired a triathlon coach. I'm doing like an Ironman. So
dude, congrats, man.
Thanks, man.
That's
so
amazing.
I saw a documentary, and this triathlon coach was in the documentary on Netflix. Now imagine the credibility. This was sold. I came in sold. I'm like, I want this woman. I won't mention her name. It's not important. I reach out to her. She reaches back immediately, gets on the phone with me, and starts yapping away about how awesome she is and her philosophy and her training. Doesn't ask me really any questions. And as the conversation's going on, I find myself Googling other triathlon coaches. And that's how fast you can watch. Yeah. Didn't ask me what my motivation was. It wouldn't have taken much. She probably could have closed me on that call. But because I didn't feel like she understood me, I started to think, God, do I really want to listen to this lecturing constantly all the time? That's not what I envisioned. So you could also learn what not to do. You know, how many sales interactions do you have? You can learn a lot from Girl Scouts when they knock on your door. Like anything that happens, you can learn like what's going on. I mean, that thing you did, dude, that's what got me on your radar. Blew me away, dude. When you were helping that guy.
The kid?
The kid sell the, what was he selling?
Boosters.
Coupon
Boosters, yeah.
Dude, you don't learn sales by reading about sales. You learn sales by doing sales. You don't learn how to drive by reading about driving. You go drive the car.
Nothing I ever face again in my life will be harder than what I've already been through. So stop being chicken, get after it. You know, there's no reason to hold yourself back. Your humility or fake humility is not serving you or anyone around you. Yep. So, you know, let's go for it. And it's served me very well now. You know, I think so many people in sales have come from difficult backgrounds and painful experiences. And you know, I don't think people in sales relate to somebody who came from a trust fund and, you know, has had everything handed to them. And I think I'm easily relatable. I've been through shit, you know, and I've suffered and struggled in the same way, you know, that other people have. It's given me a platform, I think, to, you know, be a better leader, be a more understanding human, you know, carry it into, give me content out there for overcoming struggles, write a book about it. So I'm, you know, I don't think 100% I am not where I am today if I had not gone through that. And so as brutal as it was and as challenging as it still is with the health problems I deal with, you know, I'm happy that I've experienced it, and it's made me a better person and a better salesperson, a better leader, you know.
That's amazing, man. It seems like, well, for me personally, and then for a lot of people I interview, the failures and the hardship that they've gone through have been a big defining factor for their future success. So that's awesome to hear, you know, how you were able to fight through that. And then, you know, the positive, you know, it sounds like the lesson from that experience, well, I mean, you gave the lesson. It's, you can let this define you and hold you back forever, or you can fight and turn this into a superpower and use it as a motivator and advantage for opportunity, dude. Everyone should have that on a fucking poster in their office, above their desk.
The passion in which you sell something, the attachment that you have to your success and how it benefits both you and the business really, really matters. And there was a really big dynamic between working for a big business, which I did early on, and the pride that I took and the energy that I felt when I was successful, versus the latter half of my career, which has been working for small, you know, SaaS technology businesses, where everything that I did was under a microscope and mattered to the company, you know, multiple times over, versus my early experience at ZocDoc. So like another sales, I guess you could call it, secret that I would share is like, be incredibly passionate about the company that you join. Attach to the mission, vision, values. If you read the mission, if you look at the vision, if you go through the values and they don't speak to you, they don't bring you joy, they don't excite you, then don't work there. Because a lot of people that work there are insanely connected to the success of that business, and you have to feel the same way, or else it's not going to click for you the way that it clicks for everybody else. So that's just how I think about that.
Right. Yep. So don't confuse being ignored with being rejected. I love a valid no. Salespeople who live in Disneyland with their pipeline are crazy. All they're doing is dialing up their stress. I want to know my pipeline is crap, because then I can go fix it. False hope is the enemy of every salesperson on the face of the planet. Get to a valid no. So if they say, hey, we're with your competitor, we're locked into a 3-year contract, we're really happy, you know, thanks anyway. Like I wouldn't try and resurrect the dead and be an annoyance to that person. Alignment is far more powerful than evangelism for every salesperson. Find people in the market where there is alignment, because your only constraint in selling is really time. So wasting time with people who can't buy or that are locked in with the competitor is not a smart thing to do. So you put them in your CRM to follow them up in maybe 15 months time, right? Because then their contract is coming up again.